UN Security Council seat that we are seeking. That it is called the non-permanent, remind me, so that I get it right, non-permanent UN Security Council seat that we are seeking so far. Yes, now we are facing the Orientals. We can see that TS Monica Juma, she was in Thailand trying to push the envelope as well. Could we just get to hear from General Ahmed Mohammed on this development and how pivotal it is for the country?
Well, this is crucial for Kenya, and more so at this time, to play a rightful role on the international scene. We know that the council will be made up of 15 member states.
Yes.
And next year, South Africa is leaving the seat after finishing her 2-year term. And Kenya is vying as one of the third African state after Nigeria and Tunisia, who remain on for next year. We have launched our campaign for this. In fact, the first and major ceremony was last month, on 7th November, where the Cabinet Secretary, Monica Juma, led her team to invite major international ambassadors and to put a right for Kenya to play this role. So far, our main threat comes from Djibouti. We know very well that we are the AU nominated state, and that should have been a finality, but Djibouti is not satisfied. And she has taken her case one level on and said we meet at the General Assembly next year. For Kenya, very important indeed, we have put forward a very strong agenda, as was mentioned, about 15 points, very key points that we want to advance. And our key point is we are seeing Kenya is now ready to take her role in this position. And we strongly believe we have campaigned well. I have served in New York myself. I know what it means. This will be our third term, Diba. We were there before 1973-74, where we did very well. We were there 1997-98. Yeah, and that was when I came, actually at the end of it, is when I came to New York, and I found what Kenya had done in terms of playing a role at that time. Today, our special envoy for this seat is Ambassador Tom Amolo, a man I respect very much. We served with him actually around that time.
Yes, very
He and CS Amina Mohammed were crucial and very important indeed at that time. And when I came into the UN at that time, in fact, a year later, we were told it will take some time before we get quality diplomats in the status of Ambassador Amolo and CS Amina. And I can really stand firm and say, yes, it was the case. We stood very firm, we tried our best, but they were really a strong team for Kenya. So far, I am quite confident that the 193 member states will definitely give Kenya a nod, but we should not sit on our laurels. We must need to really strengthen our efforts start coming the new year. We must really come out strongly and convince member states. I'm happy that the CS is now in Bali, Thailand, and Asia is very important. Africa is done as much as I'm concerned. Asia is where the focus is now with her states, and I believe Asia will really come along with us, along with our own other international partners.
All right. Let's hear from Professor Peter Kagwanja.
Well, I don't know how to comment about this, but it's a great thing for Kenya. I don't think it's a great thing for my family. I don't have a mother at home. But on a more serious note,
yes.
I think it's the first time that Kenya is basically showing its capacity to rob big globally. You've talked about the maritime, and also Kenya has known how to avoid murky, unnecessary fights. President Kenyatta was nominated by colleagues, his peers, to be the chair of IGAD. He found it is murky. He withdrew. So by now we'd be talking about us as the chair of IGAD. We deferred to Sudan, a very able leadership of my friend Abdallah Hamdok. And IGAD is in very good hands, so to say. But you can see how Kenya has basically, gathered its own skills in order to lobby, that. I would ask General here not to be worried about future diplomats. We are training very many at the Institute of Diplomacy and International Studies and the Foreign Service Academy. So we have a new generation. If you look at the journey where we've come from, the president and the foreign minister went to places where and even South Africans called and asked, Kenyans, you are there. You are in Jamaica, you are in Trinidad, you are in Tobago, you are in Cuba, you are in other words, we are having our footprint in every country in the world, whether people think it matters or it doesn't. When it went to Jamaica, Kenyans made a lot of jokes about why we are in Jamaica. We are basically recognizing that all members, 193 or so members of the United Nations matter in diplomacy. Now, I think last week we were in Hungary, again delivering a message about that. And Tanzania was here last week, basically committing that they are with us all the way in that particular case. And now you in the East Asia and so on. And I think the Djibouti factor is important here, because you don't take anything for granted in diplomacy. Djibouti is a small country, or very no muscle, but that's not true in diplomacy. Every country, big or small, but China is as important as Gambia. United States is as important as Monaco and other smaller states. So I think kudos for Kenya. I think we're doing well in terms of the lobbying and showing our capacity to provide global leadership, because that's what this is all about.
Thank you very much. Dr. Mustafa, briefly.
Yeah, Dibal, I don't know if the Djibouti government has an embassy here in Nairobi.
Yes, it does.
And if they do and the ambassador is listening, I would ask you to ask your president to withdraw your candidature as a non-permanent member of the UN Security Council. Now, the Kenya CS is now for foreign affairs is in the Far East.
Yes.
And I think she's receiving very good support. The countries that Djibouti would rely on, I think they are not with Djibouti. Dr. Kanenje and I, and please allow us not to mention who we met, but this person from one of the Arab League countries, Islamic organized, Islamic IOC, mentioned to us that, more than half of the Arab countries and Muslim countries are with Kenya, as it is. Now, that just means that there is no way Djibouti is going to get this, unless US, China, and perhaps France will really do magic in the last minutes. That may happen, highly unlikely. But I think Kenya is Kenya as the AU Africa Union preferred candidate to the UN non-permanent member security at the UN Security Council will sail through, and there is no point for. I think Djibouti should just come to Kenya and speak to Kenyans. There are so many other opportunities for Djibouti as a country to actually seek AU's support and Kenya's support and vie for that position.
Ahmed Hashi, Werunga.
Yeah, no, just a point. We just need to be careful as a country. Yes, we think we are going to win. But you see, even during Amina Mohamed's campaign to be the chairperson of AU, up to the last minute, Kenya thought that was a seat. So we just need to be careful. Yes, we have reasons to believe we might win as a country. But I think, as we discussed, we also need to ask ourselves, why did the rain start beating Kenya that a country like Djibouti can actually defy Africa and compete with Kenya? There must be something. That's my comment. Yeah.
Right.
It's about Somalia. Yeah, we don't need to mince words. It's about Somalia.
It's about Somalia.
Yeah. We are afraid. This is what we call proxy war or shadow boxing.
Shadow boxing.
Now, that adds, Professor, to what he just mentioned. Because I didn't want to go to that route, not just to finish on that. I don't want to go to that route, but that also tells you that there are major powers also behind this. Because even the problem in Somalia is premised on certain major powers having their own interests and fighting Somalia against Kenya. So that's why I'm just saying we need to be very careful, even as we believe and think that we have.
So the
this for
candidature
us.
is not wholly, a Djibouti-driven initiative. There are forces
But
behind
it started at the height of the maritime dispute.
Okay.
The temperatures have gone down.
All right.
Our relationship with Somalia have improved significantly. President Famajo was here. There is very little rhetoric now about between Kenya and Somalia. So I think one would go with what Dr. Mustafa said this morning, that Kenya and Djibouti need to talk. I think that's the point.
Actually, Djibouti should not be surprised if Somalia is going to vote for Kenya in the UN Security Council for this seat. It shouldn't be surprised.
That would be a good one.
Yes.
That would be a good one.
Okay, let's say from Hassan and Ahmed, we wind up. I need to go to Ethiopia right now.
Yeah, I think part of the challenge with us losing the AU seat is not because we didn't work hard. I think sometimes it's what we call the folly of inevitability. I think we had this Hillary Clintonite thing, and we were the front runner. And then you wake up the following morning, you realize Donald Trump has pulled victory. But we know that there are a lot of diplomats who also worked very hard, in trying to advance that case. And the president and his deputy, they were, I think, globetrotting at the time, trying to get it done.
So you're saying Amina Mohammed was Clinton-esque? What you say?
Not her in particular. Some scenario. As Prof said, in international politics, you cannot take any country for granted. Just like in local politics, you cannot take any vote for granted, because that's exactly what happens. And sometimes the smallness of the country is actually what makes it powerful, because it's also very attractive to a lot of powerful forces at the same time who may be willing to go with it because perhaps they can easily manipulate it if they want. Not to mention three major powers, the Americans, the French and the Chinese actually have bases in Djibouti.
Six.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, six now. Exactly, six. Yeah. So, you can see the profile of it. While it's small, it's actually not that very small in diplomacy. However, I think, Prof, as we sympathize with your predicament, being lonely, we are still happy as a country that the CS is a workhorse.
It's out there.
And, he's out there and doing the best for this country. I think one of the most hardworking people I've met, and she's a big intellectual. She can read the science and the politics of the world, and I think the lessons from the AU's failure has changed the way we approach it. In fact, when this debate started, what most Kenyans understand, there wasn't much hope that Kenya was going to even get an endorsement of the AU. That's what perhaps Kenyans might not understand. They just see now we got an endorsement. Oh, it was easy. No, it was almost like when Barack started running for president in the US. No one believed he was going to win. And so I think we should support our government in this effort. And again, going back to the maritime thing, let's then make use of that position work for us. This will be the third time, please, let's not go to West. We have to make it work for Kenya and for the region.
All right.